Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome back. It's Tuesday, so it is Tag Tuesday. And I was tagged by Mike over at Bibliophile Bookscape. I will put his link down below. But this is a bookish bucket list or literary goals. And so it's more than just reading goals. It's kind of just, not yearly reading goals or anything, but like where your, what you want for your reading, for your literary goals in general. So if there's certain books that you want to own or anything like that, that all counts. One of my first ones is ultimately I would be able to love to have my own room dedicated as a library. I have been obsessed with my own library since I was a kid and watched Beauty and the Beast, and also the scene on The Mummy when she's in the library on the rolling staircase and knocks all the bookshelves over, which was so detrimental to me as a child. But just the idea of having such a huge shelf for books that you actually need the rolling ladder absolutely amuses me, and it's something I've always wanted. I don't know how. I have a lot of books. I just don't have a specific room dedicated, which is where my bucket list would start. As for bookish goals, I will be reading books from all around the world. I have been working on it. I just want to make sure that I'm reading a book from every country or territory. An author, preferably who is born or lived part of their time in that country. If I can't find that, then at least somebody who moved there and was living there. And then most of that has been fiction, but when I find a topic in a lot of that has been historical fiction. So when I find a topic that interests me, or a country or an author that interests me, I will then continue to read more from that author or try to find nonfiction from that country. For this year, I'm doing Historathon, so I'll be reading a lot of different history books. So maybe those history books will also inspire me to dig deeper into an individual country that I'm just either haven't gotten to yet or have only read one book from an author from. And also, along with that, is I have been getting a lot of books about Burma for this year. I don't know if I'll get to them all this year, but I do want to deep dive into some of the countries that I know pretty much nothing about. And so Burma always fascinated me because on so many maps, like they always say Burma and Myanmar, and I don't know for sure why and what the people of that country actually prefer to be called. So I am going to dedicate some time this year to doing a more thorough deep dive and trying to understand and read both fiction and nonfiction from that country, as well as continuing the rest of mine from around the world. I also have been having this ongoing goal of reading as many of the classics as I can. I have enjoyed very many books of the classics that I've read. Some have been disappointed. I've been disappointed by the ones that I've actually found that I were very pleasantly surprised are actually the lesser known classics from the famous authors, or the lesser known classics that are still considered, of that time period and stuff, but have either kind of gone out of date or just they've not been talked to a lot about, and so I'm glad that I am making my way through them and not just the popular ones, because I have found some favorites among the ones that are least popular or very little talked about. And so along that list, I also want to include, I need to read more ancient classics. So if anyone listening or watching has any suggestions for some of these, I just don't know where to start, and I can't read what I don't know. So I would love any insight on that, as well as non-European classics. Whenever we think of classics, a lot of the times they're European, primarily Russian or English or of the like. So I want to read non-European classics from those same time periods. And then I do have some favorites that I'm trying to work my way through their backlist. So I do want to read all of Glasgow and Elizabeth Glasgow and Edith Wharton, as well as more Dickens, Forster, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, James Baldwin, Somerset Maugham, and Thomas Hardy. I've enjoyed the works that I've read from them. I also still have not read anything by Anthony Trollope, so I do have to read him. And then some specifics I need to read, hopefully this year or next, Beloved and Handmaid's Tale, as well as A Farewell to Arms, because then I'll have all of Hemingway's novels complete. I still have to read his short stories and a couple. I haven't read Movable Feast yet, but it's not a novel, it's nonfiction, so I'm not counting that here. And I've read all of Shakespeare, so this year, during Shakestember, I plan to read, and hopefully before that, Christopher Marlowe's plays. And then I do want to work through my own personal library of stuff that I do own. I'm trying to buy less just so that I can read the things that I already have. I'm not buying, but I just want to make sure that I'm focused on what I already have that I need to get through. This year specifically, I do have buddy reads that I'm planning. Element and The Black Lamb and Gray Falcon book are both buddy reads with Angelina over at Books Do Things to Me. And Element, Angelina and I are reading with Uncommon Reader, and I will do all the links for those. And then I'm also reading 38 Nooses, hopefully with Doug this year. So those are my bookish bucket lists, as well as sometime in the future, not near future at all, because I want to get through all this stuff first, but I would love to reread The Count of Monte Cristo, War and Peace, and The House of Mirth, because I love them, but I want to reread them because I love them. And then the Iliad, Odyssey, and Aeneid, I need to reread because I feel like I have a better understanding of those now, having read more about the books in general, different interpretations, but also more about history at that time and more mythology in general. So I feel like I would get a lot more. Two books that have helped is I read Iliad in Vietnam, which talked about it compared the PTSD in Achilles with the PTSD of the Vietnamese soldiers, and also wartime, and it gave a really good insight and better understanding for me to get more out of the Iliad. So I have been wanting to reread it. And then there is a book by that same author, Odyssey in America, and I think that is possibly Iraqi war soldiers coming home to the United States, because that war was the war on terror was so long. It is by the same author, so he's going to explore what that Odyssey would have been like, along with a better understanding of Odysseus and his Odyssey. So I want to read that first before I start going back and rereading a lot of rereading the original Odyssey and Iliad. And then The Great Gatsby and Wuthering Heights. I want to reread them because when I read them, I let the hype get to me, and so then I was disappointed. And so I'm far removed from that now, and I've read a lot of classics in the meantime. Those were some of the first ones that I've read. So I feel like I would have a better understanding of the writing styles for the era and what was going on and the context and stuff. And I also would love to reread Middlemarch. I did enjoy that, and I feel like I would get a lot more, once again, out of it this time. But I do not want to read any of those until I make more progress in my other classic reads and my read around the world goals. As for books or anything that I want to own, I don't think that there are anything specific. Every once in a while, I'll see a really cool edition of some of my favorite classics. So I would like to get those. And then for these ones, if I want to reread them, I would hopefully, if I do like them, I would, get a copy of them to keep, like a nice one. I do also want to get, I have a list of my favorites, and I consume media in all different ways, whether it's on ebook or audiobook or physical book. I get a lot of books from the library, so I don't always have access when a book becomes my favorite, that it's not, I don't have a physical copy of it. So for my favorites, like if I make a list of 100 favorites or whatever, I would like to own and make sure that I have a physical copy of all of those. But that's somewhere in the distant future when I do have my own home library and want to make sure that I include all my favorites in it. But anyway, those are my Bookish bucket list literary goals, and I thank Mike for tagging me in this. I really thought it was an interesting discussion and concept and idea, and it was fun to think about the things book-wise that are really important to me, the things that I want to focus on, or the things that I want to make sure get accomplished. So if anyone does want to complete this, I'm not going to tag anyone because I don't know who has participated or not. And I know some people are overwhelmed by tags and don't want to do tags. So if you do want to do this, feel free to do it. Consider yourself tagged. And Doug, I know that you do not have your own video format, but I always look forward to you replying to these tags. So I would like to know what your goals are and your bookish bucket list is. That's hard to say fast. Anyway, once again, thank you for listening. Thank you, Mike, and have a great day. Happy reading.